Hi guys. I realized in my last video while I was editing it that I didn't talk about how I use tarot in spell work. So that's what I'm going to do this video about. Okay, so I'm using my private deck for this video because it's been used a lot more than my public deck. I haven't done many public readings yet. So the first thing that I do for spell work is I will ask an ancestor or a goddess, primarily Diana or a saint, what will happen if I do the spell, or after I cast the spell, I'll ask about how it's working, how I can strengthen it. The two main things that I get is either start doing the work for it, or once in a while, I'll get a message saying to just leave it alone, forget about it, and wait. So that's the first way. The second way I learned from Italian Folk Magic, the book I've reviewed on this channel. I'm probably going to mention that book a million times on this channel. And I'm just going to pull a card out from the middle. I got the Eight of Wands. So this one is for more divination, but it could definitely be used in conjunction with spell work. Like there's an incantation to the goddess Fortuna to ask her for help in winning the lottery. And there are several other things that you can do with that. Like I know that there's a lot of synchretizations between the goddess Fortuna and other deities. I believe St. Catherine the Great is syncretized to her in Catholicism, so there's a lot of ways that you can push spell work together, or if there's a goddess or a god that seems to really help you when it comes to luck, you can do this. And basically what you do is you take a card. Well, I mean, you shuffle a card. Really, so like this card seemed to really pop out, and so did this one. And what you're doing is you are getting numbers. You're getting numbers to play for a lottery. So we got the Six of Swords and Justice. So on this card, there's 6 swords, 3 people, and there's the ocean. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trees, and there's a boat. You count as many things as you can on a card. Maybe you would even count like the planks on the boat for seats, so like 1, 2, 3. So those are some numbers you got right there. And then you got justice. You got the 2 pillars. You got a crown, you got 1 person, you got 1 sword, you got a set of scales, you got the veil in the back, and there you've got some more numbers, and that's basically all it is. The way that she talked about it was taking a notebook and writing it down, and each card, everything that there is. I don't think that you specifically need to do that, just because I don't play the lottery regularly. If you do, then it's probably more worth your time. And there are different amounts of luck with it. You can win something small, of course, and you can also, there's been like once in a while where somebody can win like the jackpot. And okay, so there's 2 more ways that I personally use tarot and spell work. So the second to last one is say that you really want to make your relationship shine today, whether if it's friendships, romance, family, whatever. 2 of Cups is a nice catch-all. For me personally, I know a lot of people don't like to use the 2 of Cups outside of romance, but for me it works well for anything. You can do what you want. If you want to use something besides this for family, I highly recommend the 10 of Pentacles. You want to do it for friendships, there's always the 3 of Cups, but you can carry this around. Or you can put it on like an altar and pray to one of your spirits to strengthen it. And that's a big one. But also, like, say you got a money jar, you can put like the Ace of Pentacles in a jar or a bowl from a deck you're not going to use. And you can use that to enhance money coming to you. And the second one is, let me see what I decided to do. Okay, so the last one is something that I'm currently doing personally. So I want to start up a shop in the near future. That's the big part of how come I'm doing YouTube, how come I'm going on all my social media so much lately. Because I don't think that I could very long sustain a attempt at a career doing social media on its own. But I do have a business background, and nothing comes to me like spirituality does. So I'm always in it. I spend hours upon hours upon hours working on spiritual stuff all the time. And I think that I could run a wonderful store that gives spiritual services and spiritual products. So what you do is you take the cards that you're going to use and you line them up. You're using them so that you can bring in whoever it is you want to bring in. For me, it's to be able to start a store. And you're going to write them and draw them down like a manga or a comic book. Or you can just take a picture on your phone or your tablet, your computer, whatever it is you want to take a picture with, and write a little story yourself. Personally, I like that better because I get very bad when I draw. I have a lot of negative self-talk, so it doesn't work so well. That's how come sigils don't really work too well for me. So I like to take the picture and write it out myself personally. So for my example, I got the Empress because she can represent working from home, but also because the Empress is one of my cards. My cards are the Star, the Queen of Wands, and the Empress. The Empress because my birth number is 3. So I take the Empress to represent myself. The Fool is to represent a new journey. So I'm going to take that. After that, the Ace of Wands, because this is something that I'm extremely passionate about. I have so much passion and love for what I do, and I want to do it well. And that is exactly what the Ace of Wands represents for me. Either that or getting a good dickin'. Then the High Priestess, because that is the space that I am in. I am trying to make work happen that depends as much on the spiritual realm as it does on the physical realm. You do have to make spiritual products like oils or rosaries or offer services like tarot readings or cleansing, stuff like that in order to do it. But you also have to be very much in a physical. You have to manage your finances. You have to know that you're doing everything legally, stuff like that. And of course the Five of Wands, because this does represent competition. Not that you should see other businesses, especially small businesses, as competition. But it does represent the fact that you do have to work on being able to sell your product when other people are selling the same product. For me personally, but it's also more friendly in my mind. Like, this is not a natural fight. This is not like the Five of Swords where like everyone's at each other's throat. This is just trying to be heard over everyone else or trying to be heard with everyone else. So it's nothing malicious, but it's just what you gotta do when you're trying to run anything professionally or try and get anything off the ground. The Ace of Pentacles to bring in money, to bring in that first effort, to make it worthwhile. And then the last card is the last card that I use. And the reason why I use this is because, yes, I want to open up this shop so that I can support myself, be able to pay the bills, stuff like that, but also because it's for my future generations. It's to build a stable foundation so that when I'm with the person I'm going to have children with, they and I can support our children financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, in every shape possible. Excuse me. As well as be able to have things that aren't just necessities, but we'll be able to enjoy our lives. Because every generation of my family, personally growing up, was poor, especially on my mother's side. My mother is Italian and indigenous. And especially on her indigenous side, my mom was lucky to not have to eat large sandwiches. And there's nothing wrong with being poor at all, but it does definitely play an effect on how you're raised and how you grow up. I grew up very poor as well. Not as poor as my mother did, or as my grandmother did, as a matter of fact, or anyone else before me, but that's the point, and so that every generation can do better. My mother did so well for me in every way that she possibly could, and I'm grateful to her for it. And I want to do the same thing for my children. I also would love to have pets if I could. I'd love to have like a vineyard, a garden, plants, stuff like that. Just things that aren't necessities, but are things that you get to enjoy, that you enjoy doing, that you love. And there's nothing wrong with one to have a little extra because we are on Earth for a limited time, so we may as well make it count and enjoy what we do. And that is everything I have to say about using tarot and magic. If you do anything else to involve tarot and magic yourself, please feel free to talk about it in the comments. I would love to learn from your experiences as well. Thank you very much. Sabanadita.